A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, this one could have been a little bit better. It's not a horrible film, but at the same time, it is not nowhere near as great as the previous installment. So there's two kinds of people that falls in the category when it comes to this movie. Those who liked it and others who thought it was a downright dumpster fire. Considering this one was a decline of the franchise in my opinion, because let's face it, this one has a whole list of problems. So taking place a year after the events of the previous movie, Freddy Krueger returns once again, this time getting his revenge against Christian, Roland, and Joey, the three teenagers that had defeated him at the end of Dream Warriors. And this one also introduces new characters that Freddy goes after as well. And from there, it's certainly one of the weaker films in this franchise. Now this one, it's alright by me. It's not as horrendous as a lot of people have been making it out to be over the years. Sure, this film does have some boring moments. The new characters are not interesting whatsoever. And quite frankly, this one is nowhere near memorable compared to parts 1 or 3. But at least there are some entertaining moments, but that's not saying much considering the story is downright awful. I mean, if you're gonna bring back Freddy Krueger, have him fight the survivors of the Dream Warriors and let that be the focus of the story. If that would have happened, it would have been a far more interesting movie than the one that we had actually gotten. When it comes down to it, if you're into horror movies and you've never seen this film, then you can check it out. Just don't expect nothing special about this one. One of the biggest issues I had with this film was the mere fact that Kristen, Roland, and Joey all get killed off early on. Like what? After they survive the end of part 3, they get killed off not even an hour into the film. And to me, that's just straight up messed up. Reason being, if you're gonna kill off their characters, have them been at the end of the movie at least, they would have gotten more character development. And speaking of characters, both Alice and Dan are very boring. They didn't have any character development that was worthwhile, and that's the issue. Not only that though, but the actors that portrayed those two characters, their acting was pretty awful. But at least Freddy Krueger, he still, is somewhat menacing here. He has some comedic moments. Robert Englund always did a great job playing this character, this being his 4th appearance. But it feels like this movie was getting more comedy horror than just straight up horror. Like there are many moments in this movie that I kind of laughed at and say, really? I mean, it doesn't reach part 5 level of absurdness, but still, this film just, it's alright. It's nothing special. And honestly, there are several moments in this film that are straight up boring, which is ironic because this one is less than 90 minutes, but it seems to drag on much longer than that. At the end of the day, when it comes down to this film, could it have been better? Absolutely. It's not great, but at the same time, it's not a horrendous film like a lot of people out there have been saying. I'm giving this film a 6 out of 10. The people who have worked on this film, they said, hey, let's kill off these 3 main characters that survived it in part 3. And it was all for nothing considering how much better this one could have been. If only the late Wes Craven hadn't left this franchise, because without his involvement, this series really went into mediocrity. But at least this is not the worst in the franchise, but at the same time, I wouldn't go back to rewatch this anytime soon either, just because of all the problems that it does have. And that is my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. Alright, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.